Thank you all for coming. I am Joanne Kleiner. I am the chair of the Abington Township Human Relations Commission. And on behalf of the Human Relations Commission, I would like to welcome you to the 38th Annual Martin Luther King Day of Remembrance and Service. If any of you don't know about the Human Relations Commission, we were formed in 2012 when a non-discrimination ordinance was passed in the township. We have 7 members who, unfortunately, one is sick, but the rest you'll be hearing from us today. We're going to be giving some readings from Martin Luther King. And without further ado, I am going to start the program. So, Michelle?
Hi, good morning. I'm Michelle Cooper. I'm one of the commission members, so thanks for coming out today. So we'll all be reading quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. So I would now like to welcome Dr. Jeffrey Fetcher, Superintendent of Abington School District.
Good morning, everyone. I'm proud Superintendent of Abington School District, and I would like to first thank the Township for hosting this event, the 38th annual event. And it is a pleasure that we can all gather today together in person to commemorate and honor the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I thank you for allowing me to be part of this program. The memory of Dr. King lives on in our 9 Abington schools as we celebrate his legacy through service activities and educational assemblies, teaching more than our 8,500 students about the importance of peace, kindness, and understanding, and an emphasis on contributing positively to one's community. Further, as each of our schools has been recognized as no places for hate by the Anti-Defamation League, the most important message of all that is communicated to all of our students is the acceptance of others and the appreciation of our differences. We are proud to be part of such a diverse community of learners here in Abington School District, and we value the idea that diversity is a strength and an asset. It is our mission to promote excellence as our standard and achievement as the result by building upon the historical and culturally diverse roots of our community and its proud traditions, and recognizing the uniqueness of each student. Our efforts at the school district will never be successful without our joining together with our community. Events like today demonstrate our community working together with a common purpose, regardless of our backgrounds, regardless of our political affiliations. We all have the same common purpose, building a community for our children to have a future full of opportunities with support and love. I am now proud to introduce our first student performance of the morning. Highland Elementary School held its annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Assembly on Friday, where our kindergarten through 2nd grade students performed a rendition of a song called "I've Got Peace in My Fingers" under the direction of music teacher Mr. Timothy Myers. Please enjoy this video of their quite adorable performance. Thank you.
Words in my head, watch what I can
And at this time, I'd like to introduce Thomas Hecker, who is the president of our Board of Commissioners. Also happens to be my commissioner in Ward 1, but no coincidence.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Tom Hecker, and I have the privilege of serving as the president of the Abington Township Board of Commissioners. And it's my pleasure to be here with all of you today on this day of service as we honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. On behalf of the entire Board of Commissioners, I want to extend our gratitude to the members of the Human Relations Commission for their outstanding work in putting together today's program, which is, as you've heard, the Township's 38th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Service Award Program and Day of Service. It speaks volumes about our community that we have such a vibrant and active Human Relations Commission. As Joanne noted, more than 10 years ago, the commission was created, and it wasn't without some controversy at the time. The HRC, during the last 10-plus years, has worked to ensure that all members of the community enjoy equality and equal protection under the law. Through education, mediation, and community outreach, the HRC has made our community a better place, and I'd like to thank them. The work of the HRC is squarely aligned with the principles espoused by Dr. King, and those principles are ever more important today. The world of the last few years has endured the scourge of a pandemic, increasing bigotry, hatred, and discrimination, senseless wars, and growing inequality. Sitting in a Birmingham jail after being arrested in 1963 for leading a protest against segregation, Dr. King penned a letter which contained this famous quote: "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." Think about that. Inescapable network of mutuality. For me, this is an apt description of what it means to be a community. Together, we are an inescapable network of mutuality, and it is our obligation to promote and protect equality and justice for every member of our community. President Obama liked to borrow the phrase from Dr. King that the arc of the history or the moral universe bends towards justice. But it's we, together, who have to do that bending. On this day of service and every day forward, may we all be mindful of our role in maintaining our network of mutuality and in bending the arc of history. Thank you for sharing this morning with us and for allowing me the opportunity to participate with you. And now it is my privilege to introduce my colleague and friend, Commissioner Lori Schreiber, to come forward.
Okay, let me save Lori. Lori Schreiber is our liaison to the Board of Commissioners, so we just wanted to recognize her. We also wanted to recognize Commissioner Weingrad, who's here today, Commissioner Henry, and Tyrone Manning, who is here from Senator Haywood's office. Wave again. And at this time, I would like to introduce Representative Ben Sanchez to present our service award.
Thank you, Joanne, and good morning, and thank you all so much for being here today and for allowing me to be here to celebrate the life and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And I too want to thank the Abington Township Commissioners for all of their work, and of course the Human Relations Commission for everything you do all throughout the years to make sure we embody Dr. King's dream in our daily lives. And if I may, I'm here to present the service award, but I just want to take a moment to join everyone in our reflections on MLK. we've heard and we will hear many poignant selections from Dr. King's vast supply of brilliant quotable works this morning. And I love this particular day because we get to hear so many of those immortal and profound words from Dr. King. But I also really love it when Dr. King speaks to me unexpectedly at different times throughout the year. Earlier this year, I had the opportunity to be in State College, Pennsylvania. And while waiting on something outside of our hotel, I got to enjoy more than a few moments in a relatively new MLK Plaza they had constructed, a small but powerful tribute to Dr. King. The MLK Park in State College focuses on Dr. King's legendary principles of nonviolence, and I encourage everyone here to study that full set of principles. I won't read all of them here today, but I did want to mention one of them that kind of jumped out at me that day, and maybe it was the particular political climate at that moment in time, but that third principle really resonated with me right then. And that principle, in Dr. King's words, nonviolence seeks to defeat injustice, not people. Nonviolence recognizes that evildoers are also victims and are not evil people. The nonviolent resistor seeks to defeat evil, not people. And I ask you to remember that Dr. King's nonviolent principles work toward the goal of reconciliation so that we all may live together in peace. And it should be noted that one of the pathways for implementing Dr. King's principles of nonviolence is education, and meaning that to effect change on an issue, you must conduct a campaign of inclusive information sharing and teaching, which is a perfect segue to the person of the hour. And I'd like to call upon Ms. Sharia Wallace to step forward for a very special acknowledgement. Sharia is our 2023 MLK Service Award winner. Most of us are aware of Sharia's incredible work on organizing last year's very first in Montgomery County Juneteenth celebration, and she did a great job. I was there personally and can attest to that. And we've got several awards for you. The Service Award from, I'm sorry, did I? That's the Township Award from President Hecker. Why don't you read that?
Let me read the plaque.
Thank you.
So the plaque reads, Abington Township is honoring Sharia Wallace as the 2023 recipient of the Martin Luther King Memorial Award for promoting harmony, cooperation, and understanding within our community in the spirit of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Congratulations.
And before you speak, Sharia, I brought a legislative citation from the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, and I'd like to read that to you. And of course, it's in acknowledgement of your dedication to our community and the outstanding work of organizing Montgomery County's first Juneteenth celebration. On this 16th of January, 2023, Ms. Sharia Wallace has faithfully, conscientiously, and with excellence served the Abington community and beyond. She has fostered friendships and positive relationships with her generous and giving nature. Ms. Wallace tirelessly and successfully organized and orchestrated Montgomery County's first county-wide Juneteenth celebration in Willow Grove. Her natural ability to bring people together for actions such as this is a testament to her importance in the community. Ms. Sharia Wallace truly exemplifies the best qualities of the human experience, and her spirit of giving and dedication has greatly impacted the lives of others. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania thanks Ms. Sharia Wallace for her exemplary contributions and wishes her the best and all her future endeavors. Congratulations, Sharia, and thank you for your service and for leading us all by example in furthering Dr. King's dream.
Wow, thank you guys. This is awesome. I took some notes down in my phone, so I apologize if I'm looking down a little bit. Thank you so much. I would not be here today if it was not for my role as a mother, having the support and drive rooted in being an example for my children. So I would like to thank them, all of them, Isaac, Tristan, Savannah, Eli, and Susie, all 5 of you. The most submersive and vivid dreams that we encounter can be extraordinarily impactful. The intricacies of our minds meets the depths of our desires and produces inspiration and insights that we rarely find accessible. These magnificent moments often escape us quickly. Most people do not remember their dreams after awakening. Personally, I tend to awake and write my dreams down as not to forget them. See, the dream is the most influential part of the process, but waking up and implementing the dream is the most crucial part. As a visionary and an artist, I understand the gifts woven in visualization. Seeing something in your mind unique to you, the origination of greatness lies in the ability to see what others can't or won't, both inside yourself and around you. Awakening and deciding to put efforts behind the dream, turning thought into action, can change the entire world, as we have seen from our greatest and most influential leaders. Together, we should support these visions as a community and watch as hope transforms us. Juneteenth for me started from the thought that freedom for all in our country should be celebrated in the greatest fashion. A day when a sliver of independence was offered to enslaved persons who were not yet considered citizens. The idea I had in mind combined neighboring townships, gathering people of all ages and religions and economic tiers to exemplify social unity. I'm just a mom of 5, a person who wants my children to live in the best world possible. I began conversations with Upper Moreland and Abington and Hatboro, and discussed my ideas with the commissioners and state reps. I gathered other interested parties as we gained the support of our state reps, Napoleon Nelson, Nancy Gantz, Ben Sanchez, Senator Art Haywood, Congresswoman Madeline Dean, our local Abington commissioners, John Spiegelman, Julie Vaughn, so many more, but just to name a few, and Upper Moreland commissioners, Charles Whiting, Kevin Spearing, Sam Valenza. Between Abington, Roslyn, Upper Moreland Libraries, Abington and Upper Moreland Police, the NAACP, just so many people came together. The Rotary Clubs, Chamber of Commerce, local banks. So many people supported what we were doing. Now, I'm average, and that's okay. Any average person can have an idea because ideas are what we're made of. For the local Juneteenth celebration, we gathered over 1,000 people, giving STEM kits to hundreds of children, promoting dozens of local businesses, highlighting local artists, and giving opportunities to meet with local leaders. See, these ideas that came to fruition gave me hope that we can truly accomplish anything if we support one another. It doesn't matter which political affiliation or religious background, your ethnicity. We're building experiences that go beyond our socially assigned labels and forms of domesticated bias. It's not about one person or one family or one school or one town. The things we start inside our hearts can be transmuted into actionable deeds. These actionable deeds turn into history-changing moments. That is why we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King and his dream coming to fruition. We celebrate the steps he took to manifest his deepest hope for humanity. His march, every step of the way that he had to endure, naysayers, sabotage, corruption, financial limitations, self-doubt, endless currents of hatred and bigotry until his dying breath. I do not take for granted where we are today. Though we have much work to do, our progress is surely worthy of celebration. The work doesn't stop here. All weekend, we have seen exemplary service from our babies to our elders, with clothing drives, blood drives, a plethora of opportunities to give and help others. We're continuing Dr. Martin Luther King's dream every time we decide to live in hope and not hate, enlightenment and not ego, living in our provisions and not our poverty, living in humility and not humiliation, living in our illumination and not our labels. I believe that was the core of Dr. King's message. Each and every one of us is capable of changing the world. And as we depart from this place, ask yourself today, what dream will you make realized? Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Shelley Rosenberg from the Human Relations Commission. I'm proud to read this one for our colleague Rosemary Jenkins, who isn't able to be here today because she's sick. I'm also impressed that Commissioner Hecker had the exact same thought that we did, because this is such an important quote. So you'll suffer hearing it a second time. I hope you won't mind. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly.
Before I introduce our next video, I would just like to recognize the members of our Human Relations Commission. So Cheryl Rustin, Shelley Rosenberg, Jeffrey Brown, and his assistant, Michelle Cooper, and Kristen Chapin. And also Rosemary Jenkins, who unfortunately is at home being beat up by a stomach bug. So with that, we would like to introduce our next video from the McKinley Choir.
I see them bloom for me and you.
It's a pleasure to come back on after the McKinley Choir, because many years ago, my kids went to McKinley. I don't think they were in a choir, though. But as an educator, it's a privilege to read a quote from Dr. King on education. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cheryl Rustin, and I would like to introduce two of the three service recipients who will each say a few words about their organization. The first will be Ms. Eileen Hillman, who I believe is the interim executive director of the West Philadelphia Alliance for Children. And the second will be Pastor Maurice Lee of the Holy Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church in Abington, which has the Bread of Heaven food pantry. We'll also be donating some food to the Family Promise Monco food pantry. So, Ms. Hillman?
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you to the Human Relations Commission for choosing the West Philadelphia Alliance for Children for this service project. WEPAC, which the West Philadelphia Alliance for Children is commonly known as, has been operating for a couple of decades now. I first became involved about a decade ago when I saw a full-page ad in the Inquirer, and the ad said something to the effect that if a child is not reading on grade level by the time they're in fourth grade, their chances of graduating high school are severely diminished. And a child who does not graduate from high school, their chances of someday becoming incarcerated are significantly increased. And it went on to say that every prison in Philadelphia is mandated to have a certified librarian and a fully stocked library. And I thought, well, that's great. I'm the daughter of a now retired librarian, and I'm all for books for everybody. And then it went on to say that the schools in Philadelphia most of them do not have functioning libraries. Decades ago, most of the libraries were shuttered due to budget cuts. And while I think sometime in the 80s we had 176 certified librarians in Philadelphia for the school district, at this time we might have about 4 for the entire school district of 216 schools, and it boggled my mind. So I signed up to volunteer with WEPAC, and I worked at the Longstreth Library. Since then, I've become more involved with WEPAC on the board and now as the interim executive director. And our work is more important than ever. The pandemic really hit WEPAC hard. Prior to the pandemic, we were operating 18 school libraries with a 19th about to open, primarily in West Philadelphia, but then we have a couple of outliers as well. And the pandemic took an incredible toll, not only because we had no access to our libraries, but when we finally did get back into our libraries, the condition of them required quite a bit of remediation. Many of them were used as storage rooms or dumping grounds during the pandemic, and so we had to get back in and reestablish our library order. It took a toll on our volunteers. We probably only have about a third of our volunteers. We used to have about 150 to 200, and we are really in a big effort right now to recruit new volunteers so that we can fully staff the libraries that we want to get reopened. The final way it took a big toll was on our book collections. When the schools were suddenly closed, we had thousands of books out in circulation among the students, which is fabulous. And most of those books did not make their way back to our libraries. And we understand that. It's a little bit the cost of doing business. And we're thrilled that the books are with kids in their homes, kids who may not have many other books to access on a regular basis. So we're really committed to continuing our work. Right now we have about 10 libraries fully operating again, with a few more about to open. In fact, one's opening tomorrow. And so building back up our book collections with high-quality books that are representative of the students we serve is one of our highest priorities. So having this book collection really means a lot to us, and we're incredibly appreciative. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cheryl. And to all of you, Cheryl did not mention that I am actually the newish pastor of Holy Trinity Lutheran Church here in Abington. I arrived only last summer. And I'm very pleased to be here. But Holy Trinity has been around, as some of you will be aware, for almost 100 years, since 1930. And we're very pleased to be the site of the Bread of Heaven food pantry, which is open on Thursdays from 10 to 12, every Thursday. It wasn't always called Bread of Heaven, but Holy Trinity has been involved in various projects to provide food and to address food insecurity in our community, often with other churches and organizations for many years. It's been since 2018 that Bread of Heaven has been you might say, a standalone food pantry that is hosted and located at Holy Trinity. And we've been very delighted to be able to serve and to provide food without any kind of test or requirement or demand for money or for church membership or anything like that for the time that we've been in existence. Last year, we were able to serve over 800 families representing over 3,400 people. Thank you. Since 2021, Bread of Heaven has been directed by Bennett Donnelly, longtime member of Holy Trinity, and Bennett is ably assisted by Janice Donnelly and by many, many volunteers who not only serve food on Thursdays, but also shop, receive donations, organize, stock, and do everything that has to happen for a food pantry to be effective. And so I'm very grateful for the work of these people, these volunteers who have not only made Bread of Heaven so important and successful, but also an integral part of Holy Trinity's mission and work in this community. And we're very grateful too to be partnering with the city. Thank you for the donations and the things that will be given, and know that they will be received and used and given in gratitude.
Make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a better person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in. The time is always right to do what's right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Kristen Chapin, and I have the privilege to introduce to you today the Abington Senior High School Abington Chorale, directed by Lori Wolf, and featuring our soloists, Layla Singleton and Lucy Tyler. Enjoy.
did not notice, the words were, "We who believe in freedom cannot rest," right? We cannot rest. Resting means we've stopped the work. Often in the black church tradition, there is a song that precludes the word called a sermonic. I will not be preaching this morning, but the delivery may sound familiar to some. It's often, first let me introduce myself. My name is Jeffrey Brown. I'm a member of the Abington Human Relations Commission. It is a pleasure to serve the Abington community and beyond. To some, I may be known as the husband of Shamika Brown, who serves the Township of Abington as school board president. Service is woven into our family structure. We love to serve people. We love to serve people because we love people. And it's often said that Dr. King led with love, and this is 100% correct. But let's not be mistaken. Dr. King also understood the need to have power to enact change, right? In Dr. King's last text, "Where do we go from here? Chaos or community?" King writes, "One of the greatest problems of history is that the concepts of love and power are usually contrasted as polar opposites. Love is identified with resignation of power, and power with denial of love. What is needed is a realization that power without love is reckless and abusive, and that love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice. Justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against love. There is nothing essentially wrong with power. The problem is that in America, power is unequally distributed. You see, Dr. King understood that those wielding not just power, but reckless power were abusing people, standing in the way of the correction of injustice. To understand why Dr. King was so committed to love, we must understand what formed his understanding of the concept of love. Dr. King was a civil rights leader, as we know, a husband, a father, a once-in-a-lifetime orator, but he was also a pastor. His Christian faith in the Bible as its formative text was integral to who he was as a person and what drove his relentless pursuit of justice. So we have to look at that text, right? So in the Apostle Paul's letter to the church at Corinth in the 13th chapter, in the 13th verse, it reads, "And now there remain faith, abiding trust in God and his promise, hope, confident expectation of eternal salvation, love, unselfish love for others, growing out of God's love for me. These three, the choicest graces, but the greatest of these is love." Another example in the Gospel of John, the 3rd chapter and 16th verse, it reads, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life." And finally, in the Gospel of Matthew, in the 22nd chapter, in the 37th verse, it states, "And Jesus replied to him, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. That is," and this is from the Amplified Version, "unselfishly seek the best or higher good for others." The whole law, all those writings, all the Bible scriptures, all that, falls on these two things: loving God and loving your neighbor as yourself. These verses are part of such a formative ideal for Dr. King. These texts were certainly read in his home as he was a child. These texts he fervently studied in seminary. Texts from which he faithfully preached from the pulpit, all foundational for his work in the community, all foundational for his relentless pursuit of justice, his pursuit of equality. Dr. King understood how important love is. He understood that love is an action word. It's a verb and needs power to do its best work. He wrote, again, love without power is sentimental and anemic. Love needs power to move our country toward a more just society, a more perfect union for everyone, regardless of race, creed, faith, sexual orientation, or gender. Now, in physics, the equation for power is work divided by time, right? Work divided by time. If we are to effectually love someone, if we are to pick up the mantle of Dr. King's concept of love, then we must understand that we must put in the work of love, fighting over time for the power to make a change. If power without love is reckless, what does reckless love look like with power? As we close out another celebration of Dr. King's life, work, and legacy, let us not be caught in the pattern of reciting his words but not putting in the work. Let us embrace the concept of reckless love for our neighbors, our community, and for our country, as well as those dealing with injustice and oppression around the world, working together to put an end to injustice everywhere. So keep fighting. Keep working. Reckless love demands equal protection under the law. Reckless love works towards an end to racism in all its forms. Reckless love works toward an end to all war. Reckless love works for wage equality and a working wage. Reckless love demands that you put in the work to end injustice. For we know, as it's been said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Amen? Amen. As we close out, thank you. As we close out, I want to remind everyone that we'll be taking donations until 1 o'clock, and we also need volunteers to help move those donations to the vehicles of our recipients. Okay, so I want to thank everyone for their attendance this morning. This was certainly a great event, a welcome back to this in-person celebration of the life, legacy, and work of Dr. King. Enjoy the rest of your day. Celebrate Dr. King by doing the work. Amen? All right.